Hello, YouTube. This is Set Free from the Trap Ministry. I'm on here to share to be a pastor or to be a servant or use your gift to glorify Jesus Christ. It's not something that you just wake up one day and say, "Oh, I think I want to be a pastor. I think I want to just do this." No, you have to be. You have to get the okay from Jesus Christ. You got to let God speak to you. You have to let Jesus speak to you. Okay. So to be a pastor or servant of Jesus Christ, you must you must be you must be called by Jesus Christ. You got to let Jesus speak to you. And I am in Matthew 22. This is a this is what Jesus Christ is sharing about being called by Jesus Christ. He got to speak to you. You can't just pop up and say, "I want to be a pastor. I want to be this." Jesus Christ got to speak to you. He says this right here. Let me make sure I can find it. Okay, I'm in Matthew 22. Then Jesus said to his servant, then he said to this is somebody by being at a wedding, by being invited. So here it go. Then he said to his servant, the wedding banquet is ready, but but those who invited do not deserve to come. So go into the street corners and invite them to the banquet, anyone you can find. So the servant went out into the streets and gathered all the people they could find, the bad as well as the good, and the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came to see the guests, he noticed a man there who was not wearing wedding clothes. He asked, "How did you get in here without wearing wedding clothes, friend?" Then the man was speechless. Then the king attendant, told the attendant to tie his hands up and feet, and throw him outside into the darkness where there's gnashing of teeth. For many are invited, but few are chosen. So what he's sharing is that a lot of people don't answer the call. A lot of people don't answer the call when Jesus Christ knocking on the door of their heart. When Jesus Christ, like this man, he was not invited. He was not invited to the wedding. Jesus Christ is inviting people to follow him. A lot of people don't want to have a relationship with Christ. Jesus Christ was knocking at the door of my heart. I prayed and I asked Jesus, what is my calling? What am I doing on this earth? And I asked him, and he told me, and I answered the call. Okay? A lot of people do not answer the call to be a pastor or to go to Bible school, to do any of that, anything with following Jesus Christ. You have to listen to Jesus. This is not no vocation. It's not something that man came up with. No, it's a calling from Jesus, and you got to hear the voice of God. He got to speak to you. Whether you want to use your gift to minister through hip hop, you got to be called by Jesus Christ. It's not something that you just pop up and do. This man right here, this parable where Jesus Christ was sharing, he wasn't invited to the wedding. He wasn't invited. They threw him out. They threw him out. So to be a pastor or to be a servant for Jesus Christ, you got to be invited. God got to call you. He said, few are chosen, many are called. A lot of people don't call. I like being invited places. You can't just show up somewhere where you're not invited. This man was not invited to the wedding. So Jesus Christ is inviting people to have a relationship with him, and he's got a calling, and he can speak to you what he wants you to do when you answer his calling. But it says, for many are invited, but few are chosen. A lot of people don't answer the call to follow Christ. So to be in the music industry and to be a hip hop recording artist, and have a relationship with Christ, you got to be called by Jesus. I'm a Christian rapper. I'm a CHH. It ain't got nothing to do with that. They ain't even in the Bible. You got to be called by Jesus Christ. Jesus got to speak to you. Okay? He has to speak to you. So to be a pastor or to be a servant of Jesus Christ, you must be called by Jesus Christ only. You cannot call yourself. He got to call you. He got to call you. It's a calling. You got to. Everybody don't answer the call to follow Christ. Everybody don't do that. I answered the call. I answered it. I wouldn't be on here if I didn't answer the call. I didn't know the plans that Jesus Christ had for me. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But it's a calling. And Jesus Christ got to speak to you. He got to speak to you. He got to speak to your heart. You got to hear his voice and be called by him. Being a pastor is not something that is a vocation. It's not a vocation. You got to be called by Jesus Christ. To use your gifts in the music industry is not about just singing. When you got a relationship with Christ and he called you, you're not just no rapper or no singer. You're a representative for Christ, on and off the microphone. Those that have been called and they answered the call to use their gifts to minister the gospel on and off the microphone, that's a calling from Jesus. You got to let God speak to your heart and call you. He spoke to me because I asked him, what is my purpose on this earth, Jesus? And I remember when he spoke to me. And that's why I'm on here. It's you know, they jump, oh, he's a pastor, oh, she's a pastor. Everybody don't answer the call to follow Christ. Everybody don't answer the call to follow Jesus. Everybody don't do that. Just like the man right here in the Bible. He wasn't invited to the wedding. You can't show up someplace you're not invited. Jesus Christ is knocking at the door of people's hearts. He wants to come in. He wants to dine. He's inviting them. He's inviting them to follow him. He's got a calling for you. Whatever gift he gave you, but a lot of people don't answer the call. They don't answer the call. Everybody has not been called. Everybody ain't been called because everybody don't answer the call. It's a calling that got to come from Jesus. He got to speak directly to you out of his word. To be in the music industry and to be a Christian hip hop artist and to share your testimony, man, that's different. Because you rapping about different stuff. Everybody else rapping about the same old stuff. You up here sharing about how you got a relationship with Christ, that God set you free. I mean, nobody don't want to hear that. Because they want to hear the same old, same old. They want to hear the same old tired stuff. That's why Jesus Christ said, we don't fit in. We're an anomaly. When you step in the hip hop music industry, and you're not talking about chains or girls or cars or clothes or women, man, they kind of laugh at you. And then you have a relationship with Jesus Christ off the microphone too. It's different. It's different. If you have a gift to do movies and you want to do it God's way, Hollywood gonna laugh at you because you don't want to do the status quo. I'd rather use the gift that God gave me to rap about what God want me to rap about, not what you want me to rap about. And you may laugh at me. Oh well. I rap about my testimony, how God set me free, and I say what God want me to say. Not about the glitz and the glam and the fame. That's what everybody else doing. That's empty. That is very empty. That's empty. That's empty. I rather rap about what God want me to rap about. All right. But in hip hop, when you don't rap about what the people want you to rap about, they laugh at you because people are used to listening to garbage every day. Of course, you can make it in hip hop if you just do what everybody else doing. But to be a pastor or a servant of Jesus Christ, you must be called by Jesus Christ. He got to call you. He got to speak to your heart. He got to lead you. He was knocking at the door of my heart. I opened up the door, wanted to see what Jesus Christ was talking about, following his plans. And that's the only reason why I'm on here. I didn't know what he had planned for me, but I give him all the glory. Peace out.